Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is, of course, episode F74. 74. Let's see. Anything to say? I don't think so, so let's say some other things. Oh, I guess we can just quickly say, please rate and review this show. I would really appreciate it. I would like you to follow me on social media at dictionarypod. My personal is at spejampar, Spejampar. You can email me dictionarypod@gmail.com, and you can buy some merchandise. There is a link in the show notes. You can leave a voicemail, and I'll put it in an episode. 917-727-5757. You can also, what was I gonna say? Oh, if you have a joke for any word through the rest of the alphabet, go ahead and email it to me, and I will make sure to tell your joke when I get to that word and credit you. And also, on a similar note, if you have really strong feelings about words that are coming up through the end of the alphabet, go ahead and email me those or leave a voicemail. If you send me a video, that would be even more amazing. Okay, I think that is all. Probably fine. Watch this on YouTube, please and thank you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Spejampar. And just look up the dictionary also, and you will find all my videos, and I would like you to please watch all the videos. Okay, here we go. The first word in this episode is fibronectin. Fibronectin. Noun from 1976. Any of a group of glycoproteins of cell surfaces, blood plasma, and connective tissue that promote cellular adhesion and migration. I don't think I need to explain anything else. I think that was perfectly clear. Huh? Blood plasma connective tissue that promotes cellular adhesion, so the cells sticking together, and migration, the cells migrating from one place to another. There is a little bit of etymology. I don't think we had talked about the etymology for any of the words in the previous episode, but we do have here, it's of course from the fiber prefix plus the Latin word nectare, which means to tie or bind. Bind, to go, what's the quote from the Lord of the Rings line? One ring to bind them. Nectare. Okay, that's good for that. Fibronectin, binding together the things that are fibrous? Okay, my sound effect today will just be ho, ho, ho. The next word is fibrosarcoma. Fibrosarcoma. I believe this is possibly a cancer thing. It is a noun from 1878. A sarcoma of relatively low malignancy consisting chiefly of spindle-shaped cells that tend to form collagenous fibrils. And if we go backwards to the beginning of the previous episode, fibrils are small filament or fiber, one of the fine threads from a striated muscle fiber, neurofibrils, and so collagenous fibrils, yeah, those things that are in the body. So yes, it is cancerous. It has a low malignancy, which means it is not good for you, but on the low side, it's sort of not good for you. You can trust me because I'm a doctor? Not a doctor. Let's see, anything else? Relatively low, consisting chiefly of spindle-shaped cells. So I wonder if that's where the fiber part of this word comes in. Are they shaped like long and skinny? Like a spindle, like a fiber? Oh, but then also the fibrils, that they get their name from that as well. Okay, now, ho, ho, ho. Next is fibrosis. Brosis, that's funny that those are next to each other. Fibrosis, brother, sister. Noun from 1873. A condition marked by increase of interstitial fibrous tissue. So is this like fibrous tissue that's growing in between things that maybe it's not supposed to be at? He's not supposed to be there? Increase of interstitial fibrous tissue. Or maybe the tissue is supposed to be there, but it's not supposed to be there as much. There's supposed to be less of it. It's not supposed to grow. I don't know. I'm just coming up with ideas. Fibrosis. Fibrotic is an adjective. Ho, ho, ho. It's not supposed to be a ho, 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 even though I am coming up 2 weeks away from Christmas. Whatever. Ho, ho, ho. Now we have fibrositis. Fibrositis. Noun from 1904. A rheumatic disorder of fibrous tissue, but especially the synonym is fibromyalgia, which was at the end of the previous episode. So the itis suffix makes me think this is an inflammation, the rheumatic disorder. There's inflammation going on. Any additional etymology? Not really. So I'm guessing, fibromyalgia is this inflammation. Did it actually use that word in the previous definition? I don't think it did, but it's that's probably what it is. Probably, maybe. We'll see. Ho, ho, ho. Now we have fibrous. Fibrous, adjective from 1597. 1a, containing, consisting of, or resembling fibers. Just any of those different types of fibers. Is it like those fibers? It's fibrous. 1b, characterized by fibrosis, which was the one that was a condition marked by increase of interstitial fibrous tissue. It's fibrous. 1c, capable of being separated into fibers, as in a fibrous mineral. So you can break this mineral down into its fibers. How do you do that? Do you pluck it piece by piece? Do you have to put it into a machine? Number 2, the synonyms are tough and sinewy. Sinewy, S-I-N-E-W-Y. As in the example, fibrous texture. Texture. Are we talking about, when I hear tough and sinewy, I think of a body and muscles. But this fibrous texture, is that about the body and the muscles? Or is this something else? Maybe like a leather can be fibrous, tough, and sinewy, or other things I'm sure can be fibrous in that way. Ho, ho, ho. Now we have fibrous root. 2 words, noun from 1626. A root, as in most grasses, that has no prominent central axis and that branches in all directions. All of the directions. Fibrous root. So I guess a lot of grasses are like this. And do they branch out in all directions? Well, I mean, grass is, I know that when you let grass grow a while, it will start to grow some branches, but I guess it's like it doesn't matter what direction the branch is coming from. It's just any which way this thing wants to go. Why is it fibrous? Well, grasses look like fibers. They are long and skinny, so that makes sense. I will allow it. Ho, 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 ho. Next is fibrovascular. Fibrovascular. This was the example that we had for the fiber prefix. It means fibrous and, so fibrous and, in this case, something to do with the vascular situation. So specifically, fibrovascular is an adjective from 1845. Having or consisting of fibers and conducting cells. What are conducting cells? I thought this was going to be more about like veins and arteries, because isn't that the vascular system? What are conducting cells? Well, there are blood cells that are going through your veins and artery. Are those conducting cells? Having or consisting of fibers and conducting cells. I don't know. We have to wait until the V's to learn all about that. Fibrovascular bundle is next. Noun from 1875. The synonym is just vascular bundle. So I guess adding fibro at the beginning doesn't do diddly squat. Now we have fibula. We are done with the fiber words, I believe. Fibula, noun from 1578. Wasn't that the same year as one of these other ones that we just saw? Or no, maybe I'm making things up. Okay, number 1 for fibula is the outer and usually smaller of the two bones between the knee and ankle in the hind or lower limbs of vertebrates. You, human, you are a human, right? I think so. You are a human. You are a vertebrate. So there are two bones between the knee and the ankle, just like I think there's two bones in the arm between the elbow and the wrist. And I think that probably is there to allow for the twisting, right? You can't really, you can twist this one kind of, but that's because there's a ball and socket up here, and there's a ball and socket in the hip and the waist, and then you can kind of twist your ankle around. I'm doing it right now. I suggest you do the same. So maybe that's why there's two bones to allow for the twist. I'm not really sure. I'm not a doctor, like I've said before. So usually smaller, not always smaller, but usually smaller of the two bones, and it's on the outside of the leg, not the inside, not near your other leg, but on the outside of the leg. That's the fibula. I don't remember what the name of the other one is. I think it's the ulna in the arm, and the leg, it's the tibula. Is it the tibula? It might be. So that's that bone. And now we got number 2, a clasp resembling a safety pin, used especially by the ancient Greeks and Romans. And there is a picture of this number 2 definition of the fibula. There are 3, I should post a picture of this. I think I should. There are 3 safety pin looking things, and they are quite interesting and beautiful to look at, and kind of ornamental. One of them has like 3 balls on the top of it, and then there's the springy part, and then it clasps into the other end, and then this other one has a few ornamental things, and I'd never heard of this, and it makes me wonder, why did they call this the fibula? Were they literally taking the bones, carving from the fibula bone of your leg or other animals? Maybe if they're little, they can probably put these in their hair or on their clothes or something. Maybe they took the fibula bones from other animals and carved them down to make these. I don't really know. But I'm just guessing. Maybe when I see a real-life picture, I'll have a better idea. Fibular it's an adjective. And this word comes from, look at this. It's a Latin word, fibula. They would probably say something like that. And that means pin. It means pin or clasp, akin to the Latin figere, which means to fasten. So maybe what actually happened is the other way around. They were making the pins called the fibula, and then they had to name the bone below the knee. But why did they choose fibula, this pin, this clasp thing? Is it because there's 2 bones in that part of the leg, and maybe they sort of look like a pin? Maybe they were clasping together the knee and the ankle. Oh, it's just all things that I'm just guessing about. Very fascinating. Ho, 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 ho. Now we have the suffix fic, F-I-C. This means making or causing, as in the example, felicific. So I guess that is making happy, I believe. I must have read it at some point. Let's do a quick, we're not even that far away from it. Let's look, do we have any memory of reading this whatsoever? Let's look for felicific. Here we go. Causing or intended to cause happiness. That's what it's about. What are some other examples with the fic suffix? Can you think of any? Let me know. I can't think of any. I think of terrific, but how does that make or cause what? Make or cause something? That's interesting. This is from the Latin facere, which means to make. And there's more at the word do. So yeah, I can see to make or to do, facere became fic. Just add the fic at the end, and it's about making something that thing. Ho, 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 ho. Now we have FICA, all caps, abbreviation for Federal Insurance Contributions Act. Something about contributing thing to insurance? Something like that. What is happening? We have another suffix. It is similar to fic, but it is fication. This is a good one. This means making or production, as in the example, reification. Can you come up with some, I don't know, maybe they put these ridiculous examples in here to make you go look up another word that you are not familiar with. But I think of, there are probably more commonly used words with fication at the end. Putrefaction is the first one that I can think of for some weird reason. Making something putrid. But this is reification, which, so the first part is REI. Does this have something to do with, I was thinking kings and queens, but that might be REG. So I don't know what this one is. Making or producing something. Let's see. It is the same etymology as fic, so we're going to move on to ho, 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 ho. Now we have fice, F-I-C-E. I don't know how it's pronounced because it is a variation of feist, F-E-I-S-T. Feist. Okay, next is hua, hua, hua. It is the word fiche or fish. F-I-C-H-E. Fiche or fish. And right away, I think of microfiche, the thing where they would scan newspapers or photos and make them real tiny. And this was a research thing that we saw in the 80s and the 90s a lot in movies and TV shows. And now we look back on them and we're like, we don't do that at all. We're not going to have any more montages with microfiche because we just don't do. We have the internet instead. We don't have to zoom in on some old newspaper clipping. Although, has anybody, have they fully digitized all of those microfiches? I feel like they should if they haven't. Okay, but what is a fiche for real? It is a noun from 1951, and the synonym is microfiche. I guess people couldn't say microfiche. They were just like, it's just a fiche. A fiche, a fiche, a fiche. Okay, next. Now we have fichu. No, it's a fichu or fichu. F-I-C-H-U. Noun from 1803. This is a woman's light triangular scarf that is draped over the shoulders and fastened in front or worn to fill in a low neckline. If her neckline is too low and everybody is embarrassed by if they're not liking that her neckline is too low, then she can put on this triangular scarf to fill in the neckline. Well, I would like to think that she wore this low neckline on purpose, and so she's only wearing the scarf to make other people happy. But don't make other people happy. Make yourself happy. Wear what you want to wear. Don't be changing your ways. But anyway, it's called a fichu, this triangular scarf. I've never heard of this before. Don't know if I've ever seen one. And this is French from ficher, which means to stick in or throw on. Oh, it's like you're just going to throw on this fichu. I'm going to throw this scarf on real quick, and it's a nice triangle. This is from the Latin figere, which means to fasten or pierce. And was that the same that we saw with fibula? Figere, yeah, to fasten. Interesting that a scarf and a bone in your leg have the same etymology. Now we have ficin. I think that is a long I. Yes, ficin. F-I-C-I-N. Noun from 1930. A protease obtained from the latex of fig trees and used as an anthelmintic and protein digestive. Oh, it's a protease obtained from the latex of fig trees. Why fig trees specifically? Does that have a better latex than other trees? How do you get a latex? What is the latex of a tree? How do you get the latex from a tree? What? It's an anthelmintic and protein digestive. So I assume that this was used in plant medicine. This ficin, I guess, seems like it would make sense. And you would think that it should be figin or figgin because it's from the fig tree, but the word is from ficus, F-I-C-U-S, which means fig in Latin. The Latin word ficus means fig. So it all makes perfect sense. It is a protease from the fig tree. Ho, 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 ho. Now we have fickle. It's like a pickle with an F. Adjective from the 13th century. Marked by lack of steadfastness, constancy, or stability, and then also given to erratic changeableness. Changeableness. A synonym is the word inconstant. My podcast is not fickle because I have a very strict airing schedule, broadcast schedule, and so there is constancy. There is no inconstancy. And let's see. So we're often talking about people. People can be fickle. Other things, I guess, but usually it's from the fickle people. Ah, the fickle people of the lands of the north. So they're not steadfast. They don't have constancy. They don't have stability. They're erratic. They change a lot erratically. You can't predict how a fickle person is gonna fickle. Ah, they fickled me so good when they changed on a dime. This is not a personality trait that I have. I don't really change my mind once it's like, that's the plan. I'm like, well, that's the plan. That's what we talked about. And then when the other ideas, other thoughts come in, I'm like, but that's not what we agreed on. Okay, is it better? Sure. Can I get over it? Sure, fine. But I'm like, this is not what we decided on. So I'm not fickle. Are you fickle? Please tell me if you are fickle. Fickleness is a noun, and fickly is an adverb. They changed their plans so fickly because they are a fickle person. Where does this word come from? I like the word. I don't love the action. I don't love the trait. It is from the Middle English fickle, which means deceitful or inconstant. Oh yeah, it's like, you lied to me. You changed your mind. You are deceiving me. From Old English fickle, which means deceitful, akin to the Old English bephisian, who knows how they said that word, which means to deceive, and probably of Old English fa, which means hostile. I guess it could seem sort of hostile if you're changing your mind a lot or something. There's more at the word foe, F-O-E. Okay, now I think we have one more word for this episode. Ha 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 ha. It is fico, F-I-C-O. Noun from the 1585. It's archaic, and the synonym is the number 2 definition for the word fig, which will be coming up in a little while. So fico is a fig, one of the definitions of fig, and I think you probably know where the etymology comes from, but specifically we have more information. It is from the obsolete fico, doesn't say what language, which is an obscene gesture of contempt. This fico, it's a gesture of contempt that is obscene. Oh, I can't wait to get to the second definition of the word fig. You don't have to wait too long. From Italian fica, which means fig, or also vulva? I think that's what it's saying, and it's also a gesture of contempt. So, what is happening here? The plot thickens. From the vulgar Latin fica, which means fig, and there's more at the word fig, of course. So, I don't know how vulva and gesture of contempt got into this conversation, but that is fascinating. Fico. Maybe I shouldn't be saying it out loud, because maybe some of you will, even just the sound of the word will make you embarrassed, uncomfortable. I don't know. Okay, fascinating stuff today. I'm glad we finished the fiber stuff. I was a little, I'm not into these words. I learned some stuff. I did learn some stuff, which was very helpful, but it was enough of that. Okay, thanks. Now I need to pick a word of the episode, and the one that I'm going to pick is going to be one of these that I'm about to say to you: fibronectin, fibrosarcoma, fibrosis, fibrositis, fibrous root, fibrovascular bundle, fibula, fic, F-I-C-A, fication, fees or fice, fish or fish, fishu, ficin, fickle, and fico. Okay, those were all the words. There's some real good stuff in here for sure. Fibula was very fascinating. I loved learning the etymology and this other definition of a pin. The fishu scarf was kind of interesting. Didn't ever think about that there's a fiche and a microfiche, even though it's the same thing. I would have liked to know what a fiche is, so I know what a micro version of that is. But I guess it's just one thing. But I think I'm going to pick fickle as the word of the episode. This song is so fickle, it doesn't know where it wants to go. It's so fickle, and it's so fickle. Hey, 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 I'm fickle. That is it. That's it for the words. Thank you so much for putting on this podcast. And I'm going to tell you about another movie, which is We Live in Time. And I had to look up this real quick. This was a beautiful relationship story, drama. But the thing about it is that, and I do think this is probably helpful to know going in, is that the scenes are not in chronological order, and they're not in backwards chronological order. They go back and forth. There's no now, there's no past, there's no future. It's just the bubble of time, and they live in time. And so I think it sort of evokes feelings of memory and stuff, and so it bounces between their whole relationship. When they met, they had kids, all these things, and I really don't remember a lot of specifics, but I saw a couple pictures which brought it back to me, and I sort of had an idea that maybe there was something funky with time and the way that they organized all the scenes, but I wasn't 100% sure, so there was a while when I was like, wait, but what? Is this later? Is this before? And I'm sure, you don't have to pay attention too hard to figure that out, but I do think it is helpful. And it's a beautiful movie, beautifully acted, and I should probably watch it again. This is one of those where I would really like to watch it again because I would have a much better idea, and I think it would make more sense. But I still very much enjoyed it. Okay, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show, and until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.
I've got good news.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Ryan from the Blue Rose Magazine.
I'm Em Marinelli from the Twin Peaks Tattoo Podcast.
And we are here to invite you to class. I wonder who's going to show up.
Martha Grimes.
Here.
Donna Hayward.
Here.
Audrey Horn.
Here.
James Hurley.
You.
The Healing Magic of Twin Peaks is a series of 4 workshops that run from March April, May, and June in 2025 and cover the topics of dreams.
Is this real, Ben? Or some strange and twisted dream?
Seers.
Laura! Oh, Laura, my baby! Oh!
Laura as the one.
Laura disappeared. It's just me now.
And also the kind of magic and the spell of Twin Peaks, which is the aesthetics, the production, the music, and all of what that entails.
And it looks like we're getting a question from someone. I don't know how we're doing that on a commercial, but we have a question.
I've already gone places. I just want to stay where I am.
Well, thanks, Carl Rod. I'm glad you asked that. No, you don't have to leave your house. You could totally Harold Smith this. This is all done over Zoom. All you need is internet. You know, just like a pole with some wires. For more information, you can go right out to thebluerosemag.com. Half the seats are already sold. So I wouldn't dilly and I wouldn't dally.
Scott will obviously bring his shenanigans.
What is shenanigans?
Nonsense, mischief, often a deceitful or treacherous trick.
I'm a psychotherapist and a psychology professor, and I teach a class on Twin Peaks and depth psychology. So I'm going to bring some of that into class, but it's very accessible. Even if you don't know anything about psychology, you'll still have a fun time.
Are you unhappy, Bobby?
Shouldn't I be?
Well, that's not for me to say.
And we're going to have a special guest for each workshop. We're not announcing that because we want you showing up for Em and myself. But we will say that in the first one, it's going to be Charlotte Stewart.
Everybody ready?
She'll do a question and answer. And we know that for the Laura one, we're going to have Courtney Stallings, who wrote Laura's Ghost, but we are going to have someone for each class. And I think that's going to be very exciting.
That's a yes.
Our workshops will be very trauma-informed, told through a feminist lens. We will also be inclusive to all types of learners. If you're an introvert, we've got you. We also will have, a planned agenda and a syllabus and things like that. But are we sure where this will lead us?
I have no idea where this will lead us, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange.
I don't know about Harry's face there. Does he have faith in us? I'm not sure about that. But I do. So go to bluerosemag.com, reserve your seat now, and join us for the healing magic of Twin Peaks.